It's 2 a.m. Your house is completely silent. Everyone is asleep. Then suddenly, your dog sits up. Its ears lock onto something. Its eyes fix on the dark hallway outside your bedroom. It doesn't blink. It doesn't move. It just stares. You look too. There's nothing there. At least, nothing that you can see. A few seconds later, your dog begins to growl. Low, slow, uncomfortable. And that's the moment every dog owner has experienced at least once. The moment you start wondering, what exactly is my dog looking at? Can dogs see ghosts? Or is something even stranger happening? Tonight we're going to explore one of the oldest mysteries surrounding dogs. And by the end of this video, you may never look at your dog's strange behavior the same way again. The stories that terrify dog owners. Let's begin with something millions of dog owners have experienced. It's late at night. The house is quiet. You wake up and notice your dog sitting at the end of the bed. Its ears are raised. Its body is frozen. Its eyes are focused on the doorway. Not blinking. Not looking away. Just staring. As if something is standing there, something only it can see. You turn on the light. Nothing. No person. No movement. No sound. Everything appears perfectly normal. Yet your dog keeps staring. And honestly, that's when the human imagination starts working overtime. Did it just see a ghost? Is there something strange in the house? Or is it simply looking at nothing? Stories like these exist everywhere. A dog barking at an empty room, a dog refusing to enter a basement, a dog growling at a corner where nobody is standing. Almost every culture has stories like this, from Asia to Europe. From ancient villages to modern cities. People have always believed dogs can sense things beyond human perception. But the real question is this: are dogs seeing ghosts, or are they detecting something even stranger? Why people have believed this for thousands of years. The belief that dogs can see spirits is far older than most people realize. In fact, it existed long before modern science, long before electricity, long before brightly lit cities. Thousands of years ago, nights were truly dark. People lived close to forests, close to nature, and close to uncertainty. Beside them was a companion that often behaved in ways they couldn't explain. The dog. Ancient people noticed something strange. Sometimes dogs would suddenly stand up in the middle of the night, stare into the darkness, growl, or bark repeatedly toward an empty space, while everyone else heard nothing, saw nothing, and had no explanation. Stories began to spread. In many cultures, dogs were believed to see spirits. Some believed dogs guarded the boundary between the living and the dead. Others believed they could detect invisible beings moving through the night. It sounds supernatural, but put yourself in their position. Imagine living 1,000 years ago, no electricity, no modern science, and your dog keeps barking into a pitch-black forest. What would you believe? You might think exactly the same thing. What's surprising is that even today, people continue reporting similar experiences. A dog staring at an empty staircase, a dog refusing to enter a room, a dog barking down a hallway at 3 in the morning. And that raises an even more fascinating question. If it isn't ghosts, why do so many dogs behave the same way? The hidden superpower inside your dog. If dogs aren't seeing ghosts, why do they keep acting as if something is there? The answer may be simpler than you think, and much stranger, because the world your dog experiences is completely different from the world you experience. Imagine walking into a room. You look around, nobody is there. Nothing seems unusual, everything feels quiet, but to your dog, that same room may be full of information. The first thing dogs notice isn't what they see, it's what they hear. Dogs can hear frequencies that humans completely miss. A mouse scratching inside a wall, a pipe vibrating upstairs, footsteps far outside the house. While you believe the room is silent, your dog may be hearing an entire world of sounds. Then comes smell. And this is where things become truly remarkable. Humans live in a world dominated by vision. Dogs live in a world dominated by scent. They can detect traces of someone who walked through the room hours ago. They can smell animals outside. They can notice things we don't even realize exist. In other words, when your dog suddenly stares at a corner of the room, it may not be seeing anything at all. It may be listening or smelling something completely beyond human perception. And that raises an even bigger question. If dogs possess senses this powerful, what else might they be detecting before we do? The things dogs detect before humans. This is where the story becomes truly fascinating, because there are things dogs often detect before people do, and we have seen examples of this again and again. Let's start with earthquakes. Before the ground begins to shake, before humans notice anything unusual, many dogs become restless. They pace around, whine, or try to leave the area. No one knows exactly what they are sensing. Perhaps tiny vibrations, perhaps low-frequency sounds, but the pattern appears too often to ignore. Then there are storms. You may think the weather looks perfectly normal, yet your dog has already started acting nervous, pacing around the house, panting, looking for somewhere to hide, as if it knows something is coming. And sometimes their abilities seem even stranger. Some dogs have alerted owners before seizures. Others have detected dangerous drops in blood sugar. Some have even responded to illnesses before doctors discovered them. It sounds unbelievable, yet much of it has scientific support. So think about this. If a creature can hear better than you, smell better than you, and detect subtle changes that you completely miss, what happens when it suddenly stares into a dark hallway? Maybe it isn't seeing a ghost, but perhaps it is noticing something that your senses simply cannot detect. And that possibility may be even more mysterious. Try this tonight. The next time your dog suddenly stares into an empty space, don't immediately think about ghosts, but don't ignore it either. Instead, observe carefully. If your dog repeatedly focuses on the same location, investigate it, not because a spirit is standing there, but because something else might be. A mouse inside the wall, a vibrating pipe, a loose window, or a faint sound you cannot hear. Pay attention to your dog's ears. Most people focus on the eyes, but the ears often tell the real story. If they keep turning toward one direction, your dog may be listening to something. Watch the nose too. If your dog is actively sniffing, it may be following a scent rather than watching an object. And here's the funny part. Many people who search their homes because they think their dog saw a ghost eventually discover the truth. A lizard, a mouse, or a robot vacuum that suddenly turned itself on at midnight. But sometimes, you search everywhere and still find no explanation. That's when the mystery becomes truly interesting, because there's one final possibility. What if the thing your dog is reacting to isn't outside at all? What if your dog is reacting to you? Up to this point, we've talked about sounds, smells, vibrations, and environmental changes. But what if the thing affecting your dog is actually you? It sounds strange. Yet researchers continue discovering just how sensitive dogs are to human emotions. Dogs read body language, facial expressions, breathing patterns, voice changes, and even subtle changes in body odor when we feel stressed. Think about that for a moment. You hear a creepy story. You become nervous, your posture changes, your breathing changes, your scent changes, and your dog notices. Now imagine what happens next. Your dog starts acting alert. You see the reaction and become even more anxious. The dog notices your anxiety and becomes even more alert. A strange cycle begins. Before long, both of you seem convinced that something frightening is happening, when the real cause might simply be a sound behind the wall, or a shadow moving outside, or nothing more than human imagination. So can dogs see ghosts? The honest answer is that science has found no reliable evidence for that. But there is something we do know. Dogs experience the world in ways that humans simply cannot. And sometimes that difference makes their behavior seem supernatural. So, can dogs really see ghosts? The truth is, we may never know. Dogs can't tell us what they see. But after everything we've explored today, perhaps the better question is this: how much of the world are dogs experiencing that we're completely missing? They hear sounds we cannot hear. They smell things we cannot smell. They notice changes we never detect. And sometimes when your dog suddenly stares into an empty room at 2 in the morning, maybe it isn't looking at a ghost. Maybe it's noticing something real that you simply cannot perceive. And honestly, that possibility may be even more fascinating. Now we'd like to hear from you. Has your dog ever stared into an empty room, barked at something you couldn't see, or behaved in a way that still has no explanation? Tell us your story in the comments below, because the next mysterious dog story everyone talks about might be yours.